It's time for business. Cami Wright joins us here on set. Cami, good evening to you. Donald Trump promising to make Americans wealthy again, but the US economy has just had its worst quarter since 2022. But I imagine he's saying it's all going great.
Oh, well,
That's what he does,
You can imagine who he's blaming that on, but more on that later. GDP figures for the first quarter of the year are out, which is our first comprehensive read of how the US economy has been doing since the start of the year, and it's a lot worse than economists had projected. The US economy contracted by 0.3% in the first months of 2025, a sharp downturn after growth at an annual pace of 2.4% in the previous quarter. Some of that is due to a surge in imports as businesses rushed to stockpile ahead of tariffs, but a drop in government spending also contributed among Elon Musk's Doge cuts. It's also important to note that the first quarter didn't include Trump's Liberation Day announcement, so it doesn't reflect the full extent of the president's trade policy. The figures, of course, don't quite match the Trump administration's narrative. The president's immediate reaction to the data was to blame it on Joe Biden, a stance he reiterated during a cabinet meeting.
And this is, you probably saw some numbers today. And I have to start off by saying that's Biden. That's not Trump, because we came in on January, this is the quarterly numbers, and we came in and I was very against everything that Biden was doing in terms of the economy, destroying our country.
Now, Donald Trump ran in large part on a pledge to make America wealthy again, promising that his tariffs would return manufacturing jobs to America and trigger a stock market boom. Instead, the stock market has seen its worst performance in half a century, and Americans are bracing for a supply shock amid a mounting global trade war. Brian Quinn takes a look back at the past 100 days.
Donald Trump ran for office promising a boom like no other. 100 days in, he's driven the U.S. and global economies to the edge of crisis. In the immediate afterglow of his inauguration, the S&P 500 rose to an all-time high as investors predicted deregulation and tax cuts.
You're witnessing the dawn of the golden age of America. That's what it's going to be. We're bringing it back.
By late April, the benchmark index was down nearly 8%, its worst performance for a new administration since Richard Nixon's. Most of those losses came in the immediate wake of Trump's April 2nd Liberation Day, when he unveiled massive reciprocal tariffs on U.S. trading partners around the world. Trump's aim to reorder the system of global trade and bring manufacturing back to American shores with hefty import taxes. Those tariffs have compelled some firms to announce major investments in U.S. production facilities, companies like TSMC, Hyundai, and SoftBank. But they're almost certain to result in higher prices for Americans, just when inflation was nearing the Federal Reserve's 2% target.
One of Trump's pledges was to bring prices down. However, the tariffs kind of do the opposite. The tariffs actually make things more expensive.
Business leaders have lobbied the president hard for tariff exemptions and reversals, with some success. But that too has had consequences. Trump's constantly shifting policies have left companies unsure of where to invest, unable to plan for the future. The turmoil has hit not just the stock market, but the U.S. Treasury bond market as well, with investor flight from the quintessential safe haven asset signaling a broad loss of confidence in the U.S.'s position as the center of the global economy. Trump has been signaling a climb down from some of his harshest trade policies, but the damage may already be done. The IMF has downgraded both U.S. and global growth projections for the year.
News of a shrinking US economy has also hit markets, though European stocks reversed course to trade higher on Wednesday, all three major indexes ending the day in positive territory. A number of corporate results have been coming in, Volkswagen posting a 37% drop in its first quarter profit. It's a bleaker picture in the US, stocks falling on Wednesday after news broke that the economy had contracted. All three indexes plunged, the Nasdaq and the S&P falling almost 1% there, the Dow down 0.4%. The S&P will need to close around 5,611 on Wednesday to end April in positive territory, so it has a lot of ground to make up in the coming hour or so. Now, as the month comes to a close, we're also expecting earnings from Microsoft, Meta, Amazon and Apple this week. Together, those companies command more than $9 trillion in market capitalization, making up about 19% of the S&P 500 and more than 30% of the Nasdaq. So their results tend to steer the ship. We'll be bringing you, of course, those results as they come in, Mark.
Cami, back, of course, with more news before you even notice that she's gone, because that's the way it is here in the evenings. We are business-tastic. Thank you for coming in. Cami Knight with all the latest business news there. Let's bring you some more news before I hand over